Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Jake Paul just beat Ben Askren in a professional boxing match, even though this was Ben Askren's debut in a pro boxing fight, and this was Jake Paul's third professional fight, and he's only fought against two other boxers, and they were both on debut as well. So pretty inexperienced in this, but Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren in the first round. Now a lot of people are criticizing this fight and the way Ben Askren lost because it looked too easy because of what Ben Askren's actually faced before in professional MMA fights. Now, MMA and boxing are two different sports. I think a lot of people get that mixed up because it's just fighting and they see fight sports as just like one thing if they watch peripherally. Or for people like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and Sports Wars, who says he watches these sports from a distance.
I am not an expert on boxing or MMA. I watch it from a distance.
I've been watching fight sports, MMA since 2006, and I've also trained in some martial arts. I believe I've got more experience to talk about this subject and break down this subject better and more informed than what Jeremy has.
But there are probably people that are far more knowledgeable on this topic than me, and maybe someone else has a different take, but for me...
So in this one, I'm going to break down why Jeremy and other people are half right and half wrong in a way, because on the fighting aspect, I think they are missing a few things here, but on the entertainment and spectacle aspect, I think they do have a point. So we're going to take a look at all the different aspects, kind of break it down and see where we end up. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this one out, and let's get into it. So we're going to take a look at what Jeremy said in his video on Sports Wars and see the actual punch as it happened.
Now, in terms of tonight's match, I am not an expert on boxing or MMA. I watch it from a distance. And in terms of this, look, if I'm looking at this right here, it does look like a legit hit from Jake Paul. So let's check this out. Bam! I mean...
Yep, that does look like a legit hit because it was a legit hit. Now, if I actually pull up the video from SportsCenter that I retweeted from the Sports Wars account, now... let's take a look at that and listen to the actual hit as it happened. Yeah, that's a clean knockout. Like, you can hear the shot. He sets him up with a 1-2. Boom, jab. Ben steps back, drops his left hand. There it is. Overhand right, straight, bang. Looks right to the temple, and his legs go out from under him. He is out. He even hits the deck on the way down, hits the canvas. And he is down. He gets straight back up though, because boxing, you get time to stand up, talk to the referee, and he starts his count. He's already got 5, 6, 7. Okay, so what happens in boxing is, this is the technical bit. What happens in boxing is there's a standing 8 count, or what's called. So the referee counts to 8, and then what he usually does, grab your gloves, wipes them on his shirt, is like, are you good to go? And if you say, yep, good to go, hold your gloves up. Okay, then we move on. What happens here, before he counts to 8, he looks at Jake Paul and says, move back. Jake Paul wasn't even moving forward until the ref looked at him, and then he says, point, gets back. And then Jake runs in. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Maybe because he's inexperienced, it's the heat of the moment in the fight, he just knocked him down. He's eager to go. But then the ref looks back at him and says, okay, it should be 8, 9, are you ready to go? He says, come on, walk to me, walk to me. Okay, let's play this. A lot of people are calling bullshit on that, but here's the thing. If he says, walk forward to me, look what Ben does. He takes one step forward, and then he walks sideways. The referee says, walk to me, and he walks, as soon as you can see the way he steps there. He's not right. And he turns sideways. He's off balance and everything. Everyone's saying it might be an early stoppage or something, but no. That's understandable because once you've been knocked down from this shot and you hit the canvas, you get a few seconds, maybe because of that extra, it might be like 20 seconds. He gets up and the ref calls it because he can't hold his hands. He didn't give him his gloves, so he didn't show that he was ready. So that makes complete sense that the ref would stop it. Now, a lot of people are calling bullshit because of what we saw in Ben Askren's first ever fight in the UFC. Now, Ben Askren is one of the best wrestlers to be going around. Now, wrestling with UFC or MMA experience, MMA and boxing are two completely different sports. Now, let's see what Jeremy has to say about this. We'll have a look at this. So this is where people who watch it maybe peripherally or from a distance, what Jeremy said in his own words, might not understand the differences between the sports and the rules. And you got to also factor in Ben's time in his career when this happened, which I'll get to. But let's see what Jeremy has to say.
Ben Askren has taken punches like this. A lot of punches. And when you see something like this, it does make you question, okay, what the hell is going on? Because I have a hard time believing that he can take punches like this, but he can't take one from Jake freaking Paul.
Okay. Now, there's a few things in there. First, I'll start with this is from Ben Askren's first fight in UFC. So he was already a champion in MMA, in other organizations, but he mostly won through wrestling, using his outstanding grappling and wrestling skills, and he won a lot of fights on decisions as well. Now, if you look at this, what happened was he went for a takedown, as he always does. He got slammed on his head, and then this is from the ground attack from Robbie Lawler. So what happens is, it looks like he gets hit and knocked out there. Look at these first two. I'll show you. So that one was blocked because he had his arm up there. That second one kind of missed and got him a little bit of the back of the head. But 100%, he gets hit by at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a couple elbows. Now, the difference between this right here and boxing is in the UFC or MMA, if you get hit, you can go out for like a second or two, but if you recover quick, which is what he did when he got straight back up in the boxing match against Jake Paul, he got straight back up. If you do this in MMA and you keep moving and fighting your way, like he did, what happened was, after this one, he grabbed on, tried to hold on to him, and then use his grappling for a while, and he also gets a rest here. This is the difference. If you keep moving in MMA, the referee will not stop the fight unless you are completely out or if you tap out. So that's the difference between MMA and boxing. And also here, in this fight, people want to say, how did he get back and win that fight after Robbie Lawler knocked him down like that? He had about 15 seconds to recover on the ground here while he was holding on. So you get 15 seconds recovery here, even more because he was still on the ground holding onto him, doing nothing. So people want to say, how did he take this many punches, but he couldn't take the punch with Jake Paul? Okay, so this is what happened in his first fight in the UFC. Now, I think everyone is glossing over or forgetting, just straight up forgetting. Now, if anyone was watching the Jake Paul fight and knew anything about the history of Ben Askren's career, I don't know how anyone is looking past the Masvidal fight. This did some serious damage to this guy, man. And he's already in his 30s. Now, I don't know how you forget this. Unbelievable from Jorge Masvidal. Like, a couple seconds in the fight, just runs straight at him and does this.
Clock is brought to you by Modelo.
Look at him. Hey, you can't tell me that didn't do any damage to the guy in his 30s. And now he's even 36, 37 years old at today's fight against Jake Paul. How are the people forgetting that Masvidal did this to him? And then he even gave him 2 extra shots. And then look at what happened in the third fight in his UFC career. So he would have had a 3-fight deal. What happened after the third fight? He fought Damian Maia, one of the greatest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists we've ever seen in the octagon. And what happened in that? He threw some of the worst punches. Ben Askren threw some of the worst punches in striking. All he does for striking, Ben Askren, is to set up his wrestling and ground game. And what happened in that fight? He was on the ground and he got choked out by one of the best black belts we've seen in the octagon.
He's struggling for air. Oh, there's the takedown!
And then he retired for his second time. Don't forget, this is his second time he's come out of retirement to fight in boxing, which he has never done professionally before. You got to take into account how much damage did he take from that fight with Robbie Lawler? How much damage did he take from that fight with Jorge Masvidal? And then even the third fight with Damian Maia, he did get choked out. You got to think of the years that he's been fighting. You got to think of how much damage he's taken. And you got to think of 2 different sports. One allows you to fight on until you can't fight anymore. And the other one, if you go down, there's a standing 8 count. You got to also remember, the Lawler fight, he's already on his back. So if he was knocked out there, you wouldn't see a massive collapse. This is like, he's already laying down. So if you do go out in a couple of seconds, you're already laying down. So it's not as much of a spectacle if you get knocked out while you're already laying down, as is when you see a massive boxing knockout and they go down from standing position. Let's see what else Jeremy said there.
I have a hard time believing that he can take punches like this, but he can't take one from Jake freaking Paul.
You got to think of, okay, Jake Paul, okay, you said you respect him, but you don't really like him. Okay, well, if you respect him, you got to respect who one of his trainers was, which is BJ Flores. Jake Paul has been training with some of the best. Former world title challenger BJ Flores, who his first loss in his career, he lost to Australian cruiserweight champion Danny Green. Now, if you're going to say, I can't understand how you can take punches from Lawler and then you couldn't take a punch from Jake Paul. Well, I understand. I kind of understand where you're coming from because he's fought 3 fights in his pro career and they've all been debutants. So I kind of understand that. And one's a former NBA player and then one's Ben Askren, today's one. His reach is a lot longer too. You got Ben Askren, who doesn't really train boxing. He doesn't really have elite striking. His striking is just for setting up his takedowns and ground game. So to say that Jake Paul isn't really believable, that Ben Askren would take that shot, I mean, look at the shot again. You saw it yourself. It was a legit hit.
It was a solid punch.
Exactly.
But he went down quick, and I'm looking at this, and you're like, how?
Because one fight is from March 2019, and then later on, his second fight got absolutely destroyed, knocked out by Jorge Masvidal, which we saw, and then he even got beat up and lost to Damian Maia in his third fight, and then he retired. That's why, because we're a couple of years removed from being the hype of one of the greatest grapplers ever, coming into the UFC for his first fight and getting belted like that on the ground.
How can he take all of this, keep his composure, and still try to fight back? Yet Jake Paul hits him once.
Because he's 36, nearly 37 years old, and Jake Paul is training his ass off with former professionals all the time. And I know Askren was a professional. Yeah, but not a boxer. Yeah, he trained with a couple of professional trainers, but not to any extent that would give him any chance. And look at this hit, man. Right there, you can see. He's done. His eyes are gone. You can see it right there. And his legs go out from underneath him. And he hits the deck. On face value, those 2 videos cut together are deceiving because they're from 2 different sports. Now, the part where I will agree that it's just bad optics, really. He was walking out of the arena, like, smiling, getting hugs, like... Yeah, if you just got knocked out like that and you really cared about it, you would think that you wouldn't be smiling. But here's why I can excuse that. Because let's take a look at this. Jake Paul, Ben Askren fight salaries. Ben Askren, he was getting $500,000 no matter what happened in this fight. He didn't really have to train. He didn't have to pay trainers to give him 3 months, 4 months of like solid training and fight camp condition. He didn't need to. He was going to make 500 grand no matter what. So yes, I understand where people say, I think it was a bit rigged or thrown a bit, but no, that punch was 100% a KO. The comparisons between MMA and boxing KOs and how many punches you can take is 100% different. We're in a different world. Different world. Now, Jake Paul also made $690,000 from that. Holy crap. There you go. That's where I'll give you a leeway there. But here's what he also said after the fight, proving that he did care.
Unfortunately, with the loss and the way it went down, there'll be a level of ridicule that comes with it undeservedly. Were you prepared for that coming in and what's coming essentially?
Probably deserved.
Why do you feel that way?
I got knocked out by Jake Paul. It's fucking embarrassing.
I got knocked out by Jake Paul. It's fucking embarrassing. Yeah, it is, but you are not a professional boxer. Professional fighter? Yeah. Boxer? No. We all know that your striking isn't anywhere near the level of the elites in the world.
Add fuel to the fire. This is him after the fight. He looks pretty happy to me. He looks pretty damn happy to me.
Yeah, and now we know why he looks happy. Because regardless of what happened in this fight, he was getting paid no matter what, and a hell of a lot of money.
Okay, so again, when you see the punch itself, you're like, that's a legit looking punch. And it is a legit looking punch. But then you look at everything else going on. And then you add the Jake Paul element to it. And you add what's probably they're building up towards. I think that Ben Askren probably took a dive. I do.
No, I can see where he's coming from. I do see where he's coming from. Jake Paul wants to build the hype and get more wins behind him so he can get an actual fight, like someone who's an actual professional boxer to fight him and get a hell of a lot of money. That's what he's all about. I mean, he just made nearly $700,000. So, I mean, he wants to make the money. Good on him, whatever. But I don't think Ben Askren took a dive. I do not think that happened at all. Man, he got rocked, he got knocked out, and he was walking sideways towards the referee. And the reason why he's happy is he was getting $500,000 no matter what.
I do believe that he probably took a dive. Do I think the punch is legit? I do. I think it was a legit punch. But I also think that he sold
See, right there, he walks sideways towards the ref.
the hell out of it. I am a professional wrestling fan, and I know all about selling, and it seems to me that Ben Askren sold the hell out of this. That's what I think. But there are probably people that are far more knowledgeable on this topic than me, and maybe someone else has a different take. But for me, I see selling. I see someone that sold the hell out of that right there.
Sold the hell out of it. I'm not challenging you to a fight, Jeremy, but I mean, I want you to take a fucking 1-2 like that, get up and see how well you do.
You're thinking, okay, that's legit, but then you're like, yeah, I think he sold.
Nah.
I think he sold the hell out of it and got his payday. And then you see this reaction.
Yeah, because he was getting paid anyway. I'd be like, yeah, cool, I just made $500,000.
Really does seem that way.
He's probably like, yeah, I can't believe I lost to fucking Jake Paul, and even said that, which I showed you. And he's like, yeah, I lost to Jake Paul, it's ridiculous, and I just made $500,000. But to say he sold it, don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. Now, don't forget to go follow Sports Wars on Twitter, and also don't forget to go head over to geeksandgamers.com and sign up to the website for free today if you have not already. And I'll put those links in the description below. So with everything I've shown you, based on this hit that he took, the way he went down, his legs went out from under him, he couldn't walk back to the referee properly in time, didn't show him the standing 8 count, his hands at the standing 8 count properly. Then you look at the old footage from a couple of years ago in his first UFC fight, when Robbie Lawler got him a few times, yep, clean, but he wasn't standing up, he was already on the ground, grappling with Lawler. There are also punches that are completely different mechanics. Yeah, you can see him throwing the overhands, and he got him clean with a few of them. I think he was out for a few seconds in that one in the UFC fight. But this is standing up, clean shot to the temple. These are different shots. There's different mechanics, different power we're talking about. Now I'm putting everything together instead of Jeremy's way of putting everything together. I can see where he's coming from, that it looks sold, and it looked like it might have been what other people say rigged or thrown. But no, I don't believe so after everything I've seen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what you think of the fight, if you agree with me, if you agree with Jeremy. And don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.